Apps are not the future of software, agents are, and this shift will change how we build, use, and think about technology from rigid menus to goal-driven systems. If you are building for senior engineers, this is the model you need in your head, not another feature list, an execution layer that chases outcomes while you steer intent. By the end of this explainer, you will see the agent loop, the 3 core components every stack needs, a concrete end-to-end example, and the honest limits no vendor talks about. This is not a trend piece. It is a structural rewrite, from clicking through apps to commanding outcomes. The interface layer survives, the workflow layer gets automated. Let us start with why the app-centric world hits a ceiling. Then we will build the mental model for agents, the technical loop, and what actually ships in production today. Every app you use today is fundamentally limited. They are rigid, step-based, and user-driven. The product assumes you will supply the glue between tools. You open an app, click buttons, switch tabs, copy data over and over again. The work lives in the seams between products, not inside any single surface. Think about a single objective, say publishing a post. You bounce between docs, browser research, email approvals, and a CMS. The goal is one, the tooling is many. Apps do not understand your goal. They only execute predefined functions behind buttons. If your intent is not mapped to a feature, the product simply cannot help. That is fine for repeatable, narrow tasks. It breaks down when work is contextual, cross-system, and changes every week, exactly the work senior teams actually do. So the pain is not laziness, it is architecture. Siloed apps force humans to play scheduler, integrator, and error handler. That is the bottleneck agents are meant to remove. Now imagine this. Instead of juggling 5 apps, you state one outcome, create and publish a blog, and the system plans the subtasks, picks the tools, and runs the chain. When it works, it feels like delegating to a junior operator who never sleeps, except the operator is code orchestrating APIs, browsers, and policies under guardrails. This is the shift from tools to outcomes. The interface might still exist for review, but the default path is not open 5 tabs, it is describe the finish line. That does not mean agents replace product thinking. It means the product becomes the policy surface, permissions, budgets, audit logs, while execution moves beneath it. If you are skeptical, good. Outcomes without controls are demos. The rest of this video is how serious teams keep agents inside productive boundaries. An agent is not just a chatbot inside a slick UI wrapper. It is a system that can reason about state, plan next moves, invoke tools, and revise when reality disagrees. It does not wait for perfect instructions on every microstep. It interprets a goal, chooses actions, reads feedback, and iterates, exactly how engineers debug production systems. The user's role shifts from click each control to set direction, constraints, and kill switches. The agent handles the grind if the environment is instrumented correctly. Chat is one possible skin. Headless workers, cron triggers, queue consumers, incident bots are agents too when they close loops against live state instead of static scripts. So when someone says agents are the future, translated precisely, autonomous control loops over software surfaces with models as planners, not as magic. At the core of every capable agent is a loop, not a single prompt, an iterative cycle that keeps going until the goal is satisfied or a safety rule trips. In pseudocode, it looks boring, which is good. Boring loops are testable. Exciting one-shot prompts are not how you run production. Here is the canonical shape developers implement. While the goal is not achieved, the model reasons over memory, chooses a tool, executes, and writes results back into state. First, it understands the goal in the context of constraints, brand rules, credentials, budgets, and what done means in your system, not in the abstract. Second, it creates a plan, or at least a next action, because the world is partially observed. Plans are hypotheses, actions generate evidence. Third, it selects a tool, HTTP client, browser automation, SQL, vector search, and executes with structured arguments. Tool design is half the engineering battle. Fourth, it observes results, HTTP status, DOM state, SQL rows, and folds them into memory. Fifth, it repeats until completion or until a human must intervene on ambiguity. Visually, think of a pipeline where the spotlight never rests on one node. The motion is the point. Agents are processes, not pages. Strip the hype, and you get 3 components: a brain, the language model that reasons; tools, the actions it can take; memory, the durable state across turns and tasks. The brain is your reasoning engine. It decides what to try next, synthesizes messy tool output into summaries, and spots contradictions when the prompt and memory are honest. Tools are the hands: APIs, browsers, databases, ticketing systems, anything callable with typed inputs and inspectable outputs. Narrow tools beat fuzzy do-anything buttons. Memory spans working scratch space and long-term stores, conversation traces, embeddings, artifact URLs, user preferences. Without memory, every run starts as a stranger. If any leg is weak, the system wobbles. A clever model with garbage tools only hallucinates faster. Great tools with no memory repeat mistakes forever. Production teams spend their time hardening those three, not writing clever greetings. The interface story is secondary to reliable action and auditability. Walk through a concrete task, launch a blog post about agents versus apps. The goal is live HTML with sane metadata, not a draft stuck in a doc. Step 1. Research trending subtopics and claims worth citing. The agent queries search, pulls primary sources, and stores pointers, not screenshots of unverifiable blogs. Step 2. Generate a structured article, outline, sections, code callouts if needed, then human review gates for voice and factual claims. Step 3. Optimize metadata, title variants, slug, description, OG tags, so discovery bots and humans both get a truthful preview. Step 4. Format for your CMS, MDX, HTML components, embeds, and validate links, accessibility basics, and asset paths before publication. Step 5. Publish via CMS API or Git-backed pipeline, then ping search consoles and alerting if rollback is needed. No UI tour, just execution with receipts. Here is the comparison senior teams actually use. Apps encode fixed workflows. Agents make dynamic decisions under policies. Neither removes the need for design. Row 1. Workflows. Apps ship fixed paths that scale cheaply. Agents pay latency and dollars for flexibility. You decide when that trade is worth it. Row 2. Initiative. Apps wait for clicks. The user drives. Agents chase a declared goal. The human steers approval points, not every micro interaction. Row 3. Interface. Apps assume a GUI. Agents can run headless, APIs, CLIs, background jobs, surfacing UI only when humans need visibility. Row 4. Logic. Apps ship static, branching coded months ago. Agents adapt reasoning within tool boundaries, still bounded, not infinitely creative. The punchline: apps execute features, agents execute goals. Features without semantics frustrate, goals without governance get you fired. Keep both in your stack where they fit. Use apps for stable, high-volume Rails. Layer agents when variability and cross-system glue dominate engineering time. Why care at the org level? Software is inching toward autonomy. Not science fiction, operations teams already route incidents, reports, and provisioning through agents with guardrails. Workflows expressed only as training manuals start to evaporate into executable checklists. Humans move upstream, defining policy, exceptions, and customer trust. Teams gain AI coworkers with narrow charters, on-call triage, schema migrations assist, data QA, not replace everybody fantasy staffing models. Interfaces drift from pixel pushing toward intent, and designers who understand feedback loops will lead because they shape what agents are allowed to see. Net, higher leverage for experienced engineers, higher stakes for sloppy instrumentation. The gap between demo and production widens and not favors craftspeople. Stay honest, agents are not solved. They hallucinate structured nonsense that looks legitimate. They can misuse tools if scopes are too broad or prompts too vague. They are slower than hand-optimized code paths for stable jobs. LLM calls add seconds and dollars. Memory systems are still immature, retrieval errors echo for days. Error loops happen. Agents chase their own mistakes until a circuit breaker stops them. Production stacks add evals, traces, human approvals, and tool sandboxes for a reason. If your org cannot trace decisions and replay failures, do not ship autonomy at scale. Observability is not optional, it is the difference between learning and chaos. Treat agents like junior staff with badges, least privilege, immutable logs, automated rollbacks. The technology is exciting, the governance is boring, and mandatory. Forward 5 years, apps do not vanish. They thin into policy and presentation layers riding on agents that own operations, integrations, and repetitive cognition. Every serious company will run agent fleets inside its perimeter, with budgets, days residency, and kill switches treated like infra, not experiments. Interfaces compress toward intent capture, voice, typed commands, structured goals, while previews and diffs remain for accountability. Builders who own the loop, telemetry, evals, tool contracts, will shape vertical platforms. Everyone else ships wrappers around someone else's orchestration. This is not just a trend in social feeds. It is a rewrite of how software is structured, who holds state, who initiates action, and what done means. From clicking through apps to commanding outcomes, the mental model determines whether your architecture survives contact with real users and real SLAs. If this framing clicked, your next moves are practical. Instrument tools, tighten memory, measure success with evals, not vibes, and ship narrow agents before broad ones. Agents greater than apps is not hype. It is engineering discipline for the decade ahead. Build the loop, harden the stack, and treat autonomy as a product problem. Thanks for sitting with the dense model. If you want the tooling details, frameworks, eval harnesses, orchestration, say the word, and we will go deeper on the next one.